guess I'm going. Uh, I've had a couple days away because of more episodes happening in my life. That being said, I think I'm feeling the need to make this kind of a video. It's kind of just a personal thing. If I'm being honest, I never really felt like I was very accepted for what's the word I'm looking for here? A nerd or whatever term you want to use, really. Not even so much from my parents as me becoming a Christian really was something I never expected I was going to go to. If only because I felt like the all my answers that I had before, that I needed before, was all in the New Age religion mindset. And I couldn't have been more wrong. But when I became a Christian, I won't lie, I feel like my mom specifically ended up using Christianity in a way that she believed other people did before, which was why she actually talked it up to being not worth actually giving a shot growing up. And that was just over how much she felt like it was a way for people to just control others' lives. When it couldn't have been any farther from the truth. That being said, this kind of desire to push people into controlling their lives in certain ways, all it does is that it pushes people away from Christianity, because in the first place, many people don't realize that people talk about Christianity so seriously because it's literal history in the first damn place. And that's the part that I never realized till it was just flat out said to me. Hey, you realize this is history, right? Excuse me, what? It blew my mind wide open in a way that I really was never expecting before. Especially because I got to meet Jesus Christ directly in a dream. And have a Joseph style dream prophecy happen before my very eyes in a way that blew my mind wide open, man. The thing is, though, I I still have my passion for fiction because I realize that fiction all along, in ways that people don't realize, had been pointing towards the biblical truth. People think the Holy Bible is a lie, that it's just fiction, when it's nothing close to that, because that's the only way that the devil is trying to mess with everyone right now, is by trying to make sure everyone thinks, oh, it's just fiction. No need to pay attention to that stuff. No need to consider what that could actually mean if that is actually reality. no need to pay attention to that. No. Literally all along, and it's literally everywhere you fucking look, man. In fiction. Like, crazy. I mean, I trip out on Metal Gear Solid even still, not only because I was someone who got exposed to conspiracies from a young age thanks to my mom, and something that I genuinely actually appreciate, whether it made me an outcast or not. It's important because I was able to see all the conspiracy stuff being pointed out in fiction in so many ways that blew my mind, especially with Metal Gear Solid. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 2 alone, the fact that that game has foretold so damn much of what is happening in the modern day is a fucking mind blow and a half, man. No joke. And it's why I still care about fiction, because I'm also seeing the biblical truth being pointed to in certain ways too. And and I realize why there was always such a profound effect that fiction had for me. Because I wanted to, when I was a kid, I wanted to make my own comic book franchise. Because I loved Marvel and I loved DC. I still love them, although I can't say that I just blanketly love what they're doing now, because just what Disney has done, despite how much I loved Kingdom Hearts, Disney has fucking ruined the likes of Marvel, the likes of Star Wars, the likes of Indiana Jones, the likes of their own classics, even trying to remake them and wokeify them with woke-tarded mindset crap that just makes you freaking go, how the fuck does anyone think this way legitimately? It comes off more like an ass pull than anything else in this fucking reality. If I'm being completely honest. It's why I cared more about like Marvel, especially before Disney got a hold of it. Like, cause Spider-Man inspired the fuck out of me, man. Like, no joke, I love those Sam Raimi movies. As a matter of fact, freaking I may not have all the games back yet, but I recently got this for myself because of how much these movies meant to me growing up. The Sam Raimi trilogy is way better than people gave them credit for being. Hell, I actually didn't even think that Spider-Man 3 was bad either. Like, it wasn't perfect, no, but Spider-Man 3 was far from as bad as a lot of people, I thought, talked it up to being. And this is one of my favorite games of all time right here. Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 2, also available on the original Xbox and GameCube, is flat out... It's what really... It was one of those games that showed me how much I began to respect video games as an art form. Because this game was one of my favorite games growing up, because it recreated the feeling of being Spider-Man in such a genuine, heartfelt way, to where you're being the good-hearted Spider-Man, to where you're even saving kids' balloons. It's nice. And genuinely, it's a bummer that Treyarch went from making amazing Spider-Man games like this to now just doing nothing but Call of Duty. Like, that is a real bummer right there. Point is, I I I I really loved Marvel growing up. And the kind of stuff that Disney is doing now, I mean, because I find it hard to believe, honestly, that what they are doing with Mary Jane's character in the Spider-Man games right now, I find that hard to believe that that wasn't actually Disney pushing their woke agenda bullshit. If I'm being completely blunt, I think that was wholeheartedly exactly the reason why. I mean, seriously, we're going to turn Mary Jane into someone who is pissed off at her boyfriend, or, at the time of the game starting, ex boyfriend, that she's pissed off because he keeps on saving her because he gives a shit? Like, what kind of ass backwards logic is that? It flat out feels like a real slap in the face to everything Spider-Man fucking stands for. And that's why I can't fucking stand that bit. That is easily one of the just dumbest, woke-tarded mindset things that they've ass-pulled in this modern age of entertainment. And this is definitely not going to be a good influence on kids, especially with how much they're going to try and sexualize shit as much as possible. I mean, I'm fucking floored, for example, that in X-Men's more current comic runs under Disney, that Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean Grey have a three-way relationship. Excuse me, fucking what? You're putting that in a fucking comic book series for kids? How fucking dare you? That's shitty as hell. That's not even remotely okay. That's perverted. That's creepy. You guys are fucking creepers doing that shit. Bottom line. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And what do you think the people that actually have a brain to really think about this and really accept that, yes, this is bullshit? Like, guaranteed, they ain't gonna fucking play the new shit that Disney is trying to force feed kids of this fucking woke-tarded generation. Nah. We're gonna be going back to the old shit that we know and love, and that we were positively affected by, like the Sam Raimi trilogy, for example. Like, I'd rather frickin' show my kids this than the likes of the Spider-Man home series under MCU. 'Cause it ain't even like I disliked the MCU to begin with. Because if anything, it was great to start. But it very quickly just devolved into some of the dumbest woke-tarded bullshit. To where, I mean, damn sure we have fucking Black Panther being freaking flaunted as nothing but a BLM face, when that freaking movement feels like it freaking ass pulls that, the likes of I'm gonna say it. It feels like they try to play that Martin Luther King Jr.'s actions did nothing back then, and that we're still just absolute pieces of shit, and that, you know, like perhaps they're somehow still living in the era of separation between races. Like it's ridiculous. It's an ass pull because people just are looking for get out of jail free cards this day and age a lot of the time. And that's the part that is just so frustrating about this woke tarded era. Bottom line. And thing is, these kind of stories, especially from a Christian viewpoint, can end up being even more impactful. It gives you even more to think about, more to consider. And and superheroes back then were always such a good example onto kids, because they're trying to encourage kids to do the right thing, whether you get anything in return for it or not. To be the person doing the right thing. Because I may have been fucking... I may have been bullied the absolute majority of my childhood, to where I leaned on shit like Kingdom Hearts quite a bit, because Sora represented this kind of example of a friend that I wanted so badly. And then you know, I also had Superman, I had Spider-Man, I had Batman, I had Wolverine in the X-Men. I had a lot of superhero influences to point towards, for teaching me to try and be the stronger man. As I somehow wonder myself how I'm able to hold back so damn much when people are assholes to you, that they talk down to you, that they treat you like you're just a pile of garbage. The likes of what I had for examples to look up to with superheroes in the meantime before I became a Christian. I'm at least glad for what they did do for me. And I still honestly want to create my superhero franchise one day. If I'm being completely honest, and being completely honest publicly, the kind of superhero franchise that I had was going to be something that was going to not be afraid to talk about conspiracies, that was going to point the finger towards those corrupt in power. And I'm not even mentioning Trump as I'm saying that. As a matter of fact, I'm not... I'm not entirely sure what to think about President Trump entirely sometimes. There are a lot of times where I feel like he's actually caring more for this country than past presidents. Especially during my time living, when I have been told how much the presidents have clearly been corrupt piles of garbage in the past. And I definitely think that was Biden. I think that was Obama. I think that that was the Bush family, so on and so forth. There's a lot of them that I thought was definitely some of the most corrupt officials we could have had leading our country. And people aren't willing to talk about that enough. And people are so worked up against Donald Trump because that's how the media is trying to go, down to where they're trying to use spokespeople from frickin' Hollywood to try and influence opinions. And it's just it's gotten ridiculous, honest to God. It really has. The likes of how much Hollywood is just damn near effortlessly influencing countless people to feel one way or another in these political debates is a bit ridiculous. Especially because so much of the shit that we get from Hollywood is just, it gets so creepy. I mean, I'm surprised that Netflix didn't go out of business for doing cuties. That was so fucked up it's not even funny. And should have immediately get them fucking out of business for that. I mean, you can't help but call it out for what it is. They were being a bunch of fucking creeps. That's what the majority of these people in Hollywood are, doing this to these franchises that people used to look up to, that people used to use to cope with issues in life even. Damn it. Like people did with Star Wars, like people did with Indiana Jones, with people did with freaking with Marvel, with DC, with so many things, man. I mean, we like gaming is so taken over by this garbage even. Down to where freaking Square Enix is going out of their way to fucking censor their shit coming in here, which blows my mind. Especially because of how fucking shameless they were before. Just saying. I mean, seriously though, their shit so many times beforehand was nothing but some of the most shameless, ridiculously sexualized shit ever. Like Lightning Returns. I've recently finished Final Fantasy 13 finally. Holy shit. I'm so glad I finally finished it. Cuz I was trying to beat that game for years with my sister because we both bonded hardcore over that game and it meant a lot to me getting to bond with her over that. But thing is, Lightning Returns, it's so ridiculous because of the fact that Lightning Farron is a character that you'd not expect wearing the outfits she wore. Even if it gave her extra abilities and shit, some of it was so hardcore sexual, and you just can't help but be like, I can't buy that. She's legit wearing that. Just saying. That being said, excuse me. That being said, so we have moments like that with Square Enix as a whole. And suddenly we have things like Tifa wearing an undershirt in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, or even covering up the armor and how exposed it was in Dragon Quest III's remake, if I'm recalling right. I could be wrong on that, but that this is just me going off of memory, and it's a bummer because Square Enix is like one of my favorite developers. That being said, though, they definitely have gotten pretty greedy and all that crap too, to where I wouldn't be surprised if, thanks to this woke crap, it could help them try and straighten their act out eventually. At least I would hope so. Freaking. I just know that I still look up to superheroes, the stuff that I used to watch, because when I go back and watch it, I still see exactly why it meant so much to me, why it made an impact on me. Peter Parker was just another nerd kid like I was, and he actually got the power to do the right thing, and he became easily one of the most badass superheroes of all time. Just bottom line with Spider-Man. Now, sadly, what Disney is doing to the franchise is kind of another story, since we have shit like Tom Holland talking about being down for playing a bisexual Spider-Man, which is just, I'm sorry, that alone makes me want to slap that guy and never fucking see that piece of shit playing the character if that's what he wants to do to kids. That's what he wants to show kids. No. No. Fuck right off with that. Bottom line. I mean, freaking the kind of the quality in just older superhero stuff, definitely just it kind of blows your mind sometimes, and it bums you out because you can't help but feel bad for what kids are growing up with now, with what they're trying to do to sexualize kids as much as they are. And I'm not even saying this as someone who didn't deal with crap being thrown in front of his face. That was very messed up too, if I'm being honest. I mean, probably one of my favorite cartoons from my childhood, Ed and Eddie. It's a funny time. It is still ridiculously funny. But man, some of the adult jokes are really gnarly, and you can't help but be like, "Wow, they actually pulled that off." Wow, Cartoon Network. Just wow. And definitely it's it would be something that I'd probably not let my kids watch in the future personally. That and Rocco's Modern Life. Hey though, I'd say that this is still a keeper. Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I'm just more so deeply disturbed by what the fuck they ended up doing with Legend of Korra, which didn't start out terrible. It actually started out alright, I thought. Like, the first two seasons were actually pretty decent, but then the third season just got fucking weird. Down to ending the show on a fucking lesbian kiss. I honest to God totally buy that well, this isn't Disney, this is Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon, I buy that they are ran by some real fucking weirdo creeps, honest to God. Especially when you hear about the conspiracies behind the likes of the guy who made the sitcoms on Nickelodeon, Dan Schneider. I was bummed when I found that out personally, because I grew up on mainly Amanda Show and Drake and Josh and a little bit of iCarly. I just mainly preferred Drake and Josh, personally speaking, but point being, I was disappointed to find out that the guy was quite the hardcore creep, and Jeanette McCurdy herself has spoken up about it. And I pray the absolute best for that chick, because it freaking sounded pretty gnarly, the shit that she went through, where he was literally just abusing her, and her mom was literally like how do you put it, like she was benefiting financially off of it, down to where there's this one conspiracy theory about Nickelodeon as a whole, that their obsession about slime apparently is an underhanded reference to semen, and that all the kids getting slimed is a hardcore yikes. I'm like when those kind of conspiracies were being thrown around before this super over the top woke tarded era that we live in now with entertainment is now the standard. It's hard to actually say that that could be bullshit when you see that Nickelodeon is doing the shit that it's doing now. Same with Disney. Same with all these other companies that are supposedly secretly housing quite some creepers. And and honestly, it's why I feel like Hollywood really needs our prayers, because the people who can actually speak up and expose what is really going down there, they need all the prayers they can get. And if anything, that's going to help God expose the horrible things that's going on in Hollywood. It's why I think that it's so important that we do pray for these people, whether we know them personally or not, because they were there for us in some way, shape, or form. Damn it. Whether that was through music, through shows, through stories in general, through so on and so forth. These people were still there for us at many points, and it's why they need our prayers. And I invite anyone who is a Christian, whoever watches this, to pray for Hollywood with me, because they need it. Bottom line. Especially because It is clear that there are some real piles of garbage in Hollywood, dude. Bottom line. It is true. It is something that is going down in Hollywood. Bottom line. I mean, look at what happened with Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington. Those guys supposedly killed themselves, when in reality, they got fucking murdered. Because they fucking literally were putting resources into documentaries to expose pedophiles called The Silent Children. And I 100% suggest that if you have not seen that you see it and that you spread it around for people to see what actually happened to those guys. Because that breaks my heart, man. Because I fucking grew up hardcore on the likes of Audioslave and Linkin Park. So much. So for that to have happened to them breaks my heart, man. And honestly, I was given a dream once. A dream where I legit had a dream that God confirmed what happened to Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington. Not only did he confirm it about them, but he brought them to me in that dream. And I got to meet them face to face. And Chris Cornell told me that every time he sang Black Hole Sun, that was him singing for God to come and bring his judgment. And not only that, but I also saw others who were supposedly just suicides that actually were murders. And that includes Kurt Cobain of Nirvana, as well as also Mike Starr and Lane Staley of Alice in Chains. To where it is freaking hardcore, dude. This is the kind of shit as to why we need to pray for these people, man. Especially so that they can help expose this shit. Because this being shit that is going down under people's noses has gotten fucking old, damn it. And that's damn sure how I feel deep down. Because if I had the power myself to do something, I fucking would. Damn it. And that's the kind of heart that superheroes had implanted onto me. That's why I'm actually still enjoying watching some stuff here and there. Like, for example, I've recently got into the 90s DC universe cartoons with the original 90s Batman, Batman Beyond, Superman, Justice League. It's some amazing shit right there, dude. It's a great time. And I definitely recommend it to anyone who is looking for something still and they somehow actually haven't checked that out yet. And I will say this. While I can't say I'd exactly want to be paying directly to Disney in order to access it, I am at least interested in the fact that they brought back the 90s X-Men cartoon like that. It's something that I think potentially could be good. However, I could be wrong because, this modern day woke bullshit. It's hard to think that it's actually going to not be a thing sometimes, you know what I mean? But I did also recently get a hold of Deadpool and Wolverine because I also loved those X-Men movies a good bit. I got the majority of them back. And I might still do some of these kind of reviews because it it's it helps sometimes, especially when life can be a whole thing sometimes. You know what I mean? It's why I still appreciate getting to have some of these. What's what I'm looking for here? Some of these hobbies, these things to kind of help with when life ain't exactly easy. And I don't know if my mom and her family will ever actually see that I'm a genuine Christian, but I know that I would give my life for Jesus Christ when he came back. I genuinely mean that. And truly, I'm just praying for as many people as I can to be saved because I wish I had known sooner myself. And I'm pretty sure that if many people truly were willing to accept that that was legit history, that they would rather be knowing it, of course, and fixing their lives however the hell they can. That's just how it is. And Jesus Christ died on the cross for our sins for a reason. Because he loves us. Even though many of us are not perfect. And I just wish I had some better